All right, welcome back to another IELTS speaking practice. So today, Miss To is going to do her regular speaking practice again. Okay, so are you ready?
Yes.
Good. Okay, let's start with part one. Okay, so let's choose something randomly. Not that far, not that far, John. Let's start with 93 then. Watches. Watches are the things that you wear on your wrist. So do you usually wear a watch? Why or why not?
I don't usually wear a watch. When I was small, I used to wear one, but then I was really careless and I lost it. So
Mm,
since then, I have never bought any watch and I haven't worn one since.
yes. All right. So did you wear a watch? Okay, so you said you wore a watch when you were a child, I say, but why did you wear that watch when you were a child then?
Well, that watch was a gift, a birthday gift from one of my cousins. So I just wore it, and I think it was pretty useful for me when I just look at the watch and can see the time. So, yeah, that's why I wore it. But unfortunately, I lost it, and I have never worn any watch since then.
Mm, I used to wear a watch, but the problem is I just feel like restricted. I don't want anything that restrict my movement of my hand or something like that. I mean, it's restricting, yeah. So have you ever received a watch as a gift? And when or from whom?
Yes, I have. Uh, I remember it was my ninth birthday, and then my cousin gave me a watch as a gift, and I think that was a very special gift because my cousin said he spent a lot of time choosing an appropriate watch for me and including the style or the color. So it was a very it had it the watch had a very special meaning to me.
Well, choosing a gift for a Capricorn girl is not the easiest one, not the easiest task, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because Capricorn people are known to be choosy. They are very choosy. Anyway, so why do you think some people would like to wear expensive watches then? Is it a form? Is it like, buying expensive bags just to show off your social status or something like that? Or is it just to, as a kind of decoration or something?
Mm, Well, I think the reason why some people like to wear expensive watches, the first reason I think is because they they are decorative, and people consider it as a form of showing off their style and or it's just merely their hobby of
Mm.
wearing watch. Mm, However, there are people who like to wear expensive watches to show off their social status, to show that they are really wealthy and stylish and have enough and have much money to buy
And a lot of
expensive
money
watches.
too. Yes. All right. So it's like a hallmark. It's like a hallmark of social status sometimes. Giống như là một cái dấu hiệu đánh dấu của thành công xã hội đó. It's like a hallmark of social status sometimes. So it's like, if you open a business and if you have a car, it's like a hallmark of your success. People would trust you more if you have those things compared to if you just drive your motorbikes. People wouldn't trust you that much. And because of that, your business would not be able to thrive very well, you know. That's why in Vietnam, people wear watches and they try to look good, you know, in front of their customers or something like that, you know. Oh well, that's how things is, you know. Okay, let's talk about neighbors then. So, do you know your neighbors? Oh wait, we did this one before. Let's try 94. So, do you enjoy watching movies? Why not?
Absolutely, I love watching movies. I think it is a way for me to entertain myself. It helps me to watching good movies, my favorite movies, helps me to relieve my stress. And also, I think the plot and the characters, they do give me a sense of a, a thrilling, uh, a thrilling feeling. And I think that's a very good advantage of watching movies to me.
Mm, I see. Now, so do you prefer to watch movies at home or in a cinema?
Well, actually, it depends on if I'm watching movies alone or if I watch with my friends. And also, it depends on in particular days. For example, I would prefer to watch movies at home when I am alone, and because I think it helps me to think about the characters, the plots for myself more than just discuss with someone else. But when I'm with my friends, I definitely would choose to go to the cinema because it gives a different sense of experience, a whole different experience for me and my friends as well.
I and my friend, or me and my friend? For me and my friend, yeah,
For me and my friends, yeah.
correct. So, do you prefer to go to a movie theater alone or with others? Others here can mean your friends, your families, or anybody you know.
Actually, I really prefer to go to the movie theater with other people, like my friends or my families. As I'm an introvert, I really do not feel really comfortable being surrounded by too many strangers. So, definitely when I go out, I always have to have the company of someone else who can help me communicate with others when necessary. So,
Necessary, necessary.
necessary. So, I will choose to go to a movie theater with other people rather than by myself.
Good. Now, so what kind of movies do you like best and why?
Actually, I think I like all kinds of movies, but to choose my favorite, I think I would choose love movies about romantic movies. I think they have an adequate amount of humor and also romance in the movies. And I think personally, watching those kinds of movies gives me a sense of peace and of something really thrilling and interesting. And
Don't you like thrillers or kind of action movies too? We have something called a blockbuster movie, you know. The movies phim bom tấn. Like blockbuster movies are basically the ones that receive so much attention recently, you know, something like that. And of course, they spend a lot of money to make those movies. These are called blockbuster. So, what do you think about those things?
well, sometimes yeah, I do watch those kinds of movies, but I think they're not my favorites because sometimes they have the sometimes they are a little repetitive, and the plot is probably the same as the other movies. And at least with the movies that I have watched, they are like that. So I think I'm not a big fan of those kinds of movies.
I see. Right. Okay, let's move to part two now. So let's try this one. 43 then. Describe a thing that you bought and you felt pleased about. It has to be something you felt pleased about that, not just anything. Of course, we buy a lot of things through all our years, but it has to be something that you felt pleased about it. You had to explain why you felt pleased about it, what it is for, where you bought it, and what you bought. And of course, you have part three of going shopping. Where's that? Okay, this is 43, right? Okay, so how often do people in your country go shopping? It sounds like a part one question, isn't it? But you can divide this one into several different ways to answer this one. It depends a lot on their workload that they decided to shop online, like once per week, once per month, or once every day. And it also depends on like their age groups. Older people, they often like to go shopping, I mean, go to this local market in a very early morning to get like fresh produce, something like that. It also depends on like your age and your sex as well, because men don't often go shopping. Honest with you, to be honest with you, yeah. I mean, anyway, so why is online shopping popular? Think about online shopping through apps and through websites. It's like one big advantage I can think of online shopping. Why is it popular? Because I do not have to face people. I'm an introvert, yeah. And if I don't have to face people, I do not have to face people who try to sell me things I will never need. People who try to lure people into their shops. It's crazy. Especially, you don't want to have to talk to salespeople, salesmen and women. Of course, they will always try to use all of their tricks, and they will try to use gimmicks. Well, it's crazy. Of course, online shopping, you don't have to face people, and you are totally in control. You are totally in control of your online behavior. So you are not affected, or you're not, how can I say, swayed by people's trying to convince you to buy things. I hate when I have to shop, like, and then I meet people and then they try to persuade me to buy things, and finally I give in. It's annoying, yes. Very, very annoying. Well, one other thing is that online shopping, a lot of the time the sellers is online, yeah. They don't open physical shops. No, they sell from the comfort of their own homes. So it means that they do not have to pay for the rent very well. They do not have to pay for um, their employees so much. So they have the cost of those sellers are less. It means that their products, they can give more discount and better prices for you. Well, but those disadvantages, there are disadvantages as well. You cannot refund easily, you cannot return easily. And some online shoppers have to deal with scammers, a lot of scammers online. But still, it doesn't stop people from participating in this activity at all. Anyway, give some examples too. How should sellers set prices for their product? This is a hard question. Because I don't think you have sold anything before, right? No?
No.
There you go. So when you set price, đặt ra giá thành, set prices, đặt ra giá thành sản phẩm. When you set prices for your products, of course, the first thing you have to think about the cost. Cost, like, for example, what kind of cost? Rent, the rent. You have to think about the salary of your workers. You have to pay for business tax, thuế doanh nghiệp. You have to pay, of course, like tiền bồi thường. Like you have to pay for other expenses to make your business go smoothly. Otherwise, the police will try to harass you, you know. Well, this thing is very popular. It's a very common problem in what Eastern countries. Harassment by the police, you know, a very common, not popular, okay? Very common. Một cái vấn đề rất thông thường thấy được, chứ không phải là vấn đề thông dụng nha. A very common problem among like Chinese or Vietnamese or Asians in general, you know. And also you have to think about profits, of course. Everyone want to make profit. So, you know, there's a formula, of course. So basically, revenue. So basically, revenue equal to cost plus profits. Doanh thu thì bằng những chi phí cộng với lại những cái lợi nhuận. Of course, revenue equal to cost plus profits. It's a very basic formula. So based on that, they can set prices for their products. And sometimes the cost is only like $10, but they can sell their products for $40 or $50, you know. That's a normal thing. Mua một bán năm là có thiệt nha. I mean, sometimes it can be as crazy as the cost is only like 10, but they sell it for 100. You never understand why, right? But actually it happens. Now, so do you think online shopping will replace shopping in stores? Well, think about the fact that more and more people are shopping online these days, you know. But on the other hand, there are still people who want to physically touch their products before they buy, you know. And also, you can return products in stores easier than when it's online, you know. So think about this one for a moment. And with the growing, you should think about the growing cost of renting a place to open a business. You know? Giá thành thuê một cái nơi nào đó mặt bằng để mà mở doanh nghiệp nó càng ngày càng tăng nha. The growing cost of renting a place to open a business is actually increasing now day by day, and the economy is actually not improving that much, right? So it means that more and more people are choosing to to sell things online, you know. This is a prediction you need to make. It's up to you, you know. Cứ phải tự dự đoán mà thôi. All right, so what do you think about consumerism? Okay, first thing first, what is consumerism? If you check, okay, if you check the dictionary, you can see what consumerism is. Consumerism is a term in politics. It's the state of an advanced industrial society in which a lot of goods are bought and sold. Một cái trạng thái của một cái xã hội công nghiệp tiên tiến mà rất nhiều hàng hóa của cải được mua và được bán. Đó là chủ nghĩa tiêu dùng á. But it also has a disapproving connotations. Nó cũng có cái nghĩa mà gọi là xấu. Người ta không đồng thuận. Sorry, nó cũng có cái nghĩa xấu không đồng thuận. The situation in which too much attention is given to buying and owning things. So it means that People do not live their life much, but they try to buy and buy and buy and own more things. And they, of course, they flaunt it. They try to boast about it. Sorry. They try to flaunt their wealth. Khoe của. Mua nhiều thì phải khoe của chứ. Of course, that's how people are. Con người ta rất chú trọng chuyện mua sắm đồ đạc và sở hữu đồ đạc. Of course, Vietnam is going that direction, you know, and South Korea also. I think I'm getting a cold, I think maybe. And it's not a nice situation at all, you know. Because when you buy and buy more, you won't have enough money left. And you might end up in debt. You might end up in debts. Nợ nần đúng á. Or worse, when you need the money for emergencies, you won't have anything. And also when consumerism happens, the environment is destroyed because so much trash, you know. The more people buy, the more people will throw things away, and it will destroy the environment by having a lot of trash. Remember that. But of course, the more people buy, it actually helps the economy going because the money will flow in the system, and it helps the country economy to get better, you know. So everything has a good and bad side. Okay, you have to think about it now. Okay, Ms. Thư, please describe a thing that you bought and you felt pleased about.
So I'm going to talk about a dress that I bought, a skirt that I bought, and I felt really pleased about it. So it was just a few months ago when I was scrolling through TikTok, and then I found out about a skirt was on sales, and it was half the price. It was half the price. It was at the beginning, so I grasped the chance and I bought it immediately. And it never occurred to me that this dress that I bought on the spur of the moment would be of much use to me. And the reason why I felt really pleased about it because it is really versatile. I can use it, I can mix it with any kind of clothes that I go out, that I want to wear. I can mix it with a shirt or sometimes even a dress. So this dress has bought me this this dress has brought me a lot of convenience and also uh, pleasure in choosing what I wear, and also it saves me a lot of time, a lot of money that I spend buying another skirt to fit my other outfit. So this dress that I bought has left me very pleased about it.
I see. Now, so please go to part 3 now. So how often do people in your country go shopping?
Well, I think it depends on various factors, their such as the places that they live, or their work, or their personality. First, many people in many rural areas do not have many chances to go shopping as where they live. There are not as many shopping malls, shopping centers as there are in the cities. So the chance to go to the shopping mall will be very remote.
Sorry?
But
Chance to go to a shopping mall will be very slim, you mean?
yeah, very slim. And also, it it depends on their workload. Many people they do not have enough time to go shopping as as regularly as other people due to their workload. So they just go shopping about once a week or once a month, and when necessary.
When necessary.
When necessary.
Yes, when necessary. Okay, when necessary.
And moreover, uh, it also due to their personalities. Many people really like to go shopping where they can physically touch the products, and and they can buy whatever they want. But also there are many people who do not like going shopping where there are too many people around them, and they just do not like the idea of having to choose too many things. So they do not go shopping as often as other people. So I think that's the three factors that affect people's choice, people to go shopping.
Mhm. I see. But why is online shopping popular then?
Well, I think I think the reason why online shopping is popular is due to its sellers and its buyers. Mm,
Hmm,
for
such an
example,
interesting point of view, yeah.
yeah, because online shopping is really convenient and it saves a lot of time traveling around at the shopping centers to buy. So the consumers they will prefer to just stay at home and just shop whatever they want online. So as this number increases, as the demands increase, the supplies will increase as well, and that will also lead to the growing number of online shoppers. And also the online shoppers, they can also benefit from their business, as they do not have to spend too many money on setting up the place for people to buy. They can just stay at home and uh, st- they can just sell from the comfort of their own homes without having to considering too many other factors when they opening a physical shop. And that also means that the cost for operating reduces, and it leads to more discounts for the buyers. So I think the reason why online shopping is popular because it's a win-win situation for both sellers and buyers as well. They can both benefit from this type of shopping.
Yes. Okay, so how should sellers set prices for their products then?
Well, I think there are many factors that contribute to the sellers setting prices for their products. First, I think it should be about the materials or the quality of their products that the sellers set prices for. For example, uh, there are many expensive products and they use really they use materials that are not really available in their countries or in their places. So mm, the cost of traveling and of finding those materials should be taken into consideration when setting prices for the products. And also, besides that, I think sellers should pay more attention to the costs of the other costs, such as for advertising or for rental places or the salary of workers, and also the taxes of business. These these costs are I think these costs are really crucial to when sellers decide decide to set prices for a product, as they all um, combine with each other and together they create a standard for setting price for some kind of products. And also, I think probably the most important factor is the market or the economy in the places that they sell their products. For example, in many places, the price that they set for their products will be affordable and will be suitable for people. However, there are in other places where they try to sell their products, people may have a lower income and sometimes they cannot afford their products. So sellers should think about reducing the prices if that case happens. Mm, so I think to set prices for any products, sellers should take into account a lot of important factors.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And being a seller, it is not easy. Remember, it is a very fiercely competitive market, a very fiercely competitive market. Một thị trường mà cạnh tranh cực kỳ khốc liệt luôn á. And you have to compete with a lot of competitors for the same products. And a lot of the time, it's difficult. It's difficult to remain in the same business, you know, to stay afloat, vẫn còn ngắt ngoại, vẫn còn sống sót nổi trong doanh nghiệp, trong thương trường chứ. We often use the word the expression to stay afloat, to talk about businesses that are still there, they're still selling, they're not dead yet. Và còn sống sót trong thương trường vẫn chưa chết. To remain in the same business. It's like these days, you see so many new businesses open, but a lot of businesses, they have to close. So think about the next question. Do you think online shopping will replace shopping in stores eventually?
To be honest, I think online shopping will replace shopping in stores at some degree, but I think there's still a minority of shopping in stores will remain. The reason is that, as a matter of fact, are popular, and there are many online shopping apps that are very convenient and provide people with a lot of discounts that are really appealing. For example, they are
That's very what? Say again? That's very what?
that's very appealing.
Appealing. Very good. Appealing. Appealing means attractive, of course. Very good. So what else did you say?
For example, there's an online shop, uh, in online shopping app in Vietnam, which is Shopee, and it is I think it's a thriving business as many people as I think everyone has an account on this app, and a lot of people rely on this app to buy their products. And the fact that on this app people can find whatever they want, and also sometimes they can find the same products in on Shopee that are much cheaper than that in stores when they go shopping physically.
What, sorry? Physically, you mean?
Yeah, physically.
Physically. Okay, very good. Physically. Right. So what do you think about consumerism? First, let's try to define what consumerism is, and then we'll say what you think of it then.
Consumerism is
Consumerism.
consumerism is the fact of buying and selling goods.
Or too much attention it's given to buying and selling of goods. Or it also means that too many products are made and sold to people. And it can actually helps the environment, helps the economy a lot. But you continue, please.
Well, about consumerism, I think it has both good and bad sides.
Mhm.
First, about the good side, I think consumerism can really help in boosting the economy as people try to sell and buy as many products as possible. So, as a result, it leads to a growing demand in supplying, and also, and when the supply increases, uh, and I think when the supply and the demand matches with each other, it can create a very um, stable and growing economy for any country. However, uh, consumerism does have its bad sides, as people try to sell and buy too many products. And about the buyers, they will try to buy a lot of products and to fund their wealth.
To
So,
flaunt their wealth, you mean?
yeah, to fund their wealth.
Flaunt, flaunt.
And they may not pay much attention uh, to the money that they have, whether they can afford the products or not. And as a result, they can end up in debt, which is really detrimental to one's life.
Hmm. I
And
see. Anything
and
else?
yeah, and also it can also cause environmental consequences, as the more products that people use, the more waste is the more waste people discard. So it can cause a lot of it
Super
can have
detrimental. It's super detrimental to the environment, you know.
yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think
Okay, good
that's
enough. I agree. Okay, so basically 43 is done. Okay, so let's try 44 then. Describe a time when you ate something for the first time. You should say what you ate, when you ate it, where you were, and explain how you felt about it. Any kind of food you ate for the first time, you know. All right, and then part three of cooking and of food. What kinds of foreign food are popular in your country? And you can ask like you can answer like why are they popular? Think about the fact that why Korean food are so popular in Vietnam. That is it because of the culture? It's nearly the same. How about the taste? Think also like why Chinese food is also very popular in Vietnam then. And think why food with a lot of cheese, food with a lot of cheese are actually very popular in Vietnam too. Cứ bỏ khô mai vô là ngon ngay thôi. It's like that. It's like it's true that if you add more cheese into food, it becomes much more attractive, but not all the time. If the food is already bad, you cannot just put cheese in there and expect it to smell and taste good. Well, think also about the fact that we are having a lot of Western food. We're having a lot of American, French, German. We also have African food these days too, and Indian food as well as Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Malaysian, Indonesian, any other kind of country you are thinking of. But you have to understand why are they popular, you know? And how about the prices? Think about that. So, what are young people's opinions on new food? And how about old people? Like, is it easy to accept new type of food in their life? Is it easy to try new food? And of course, this kind of question, it also depends a lot on their personality. If they are open-minded or are they close-minded? Are they close-minded or are they open-minded? Or are they conservative, bảo thủ? You don't want people who are conservative. If you are conservative, you are close-minded. You don't want to accept new things. You want to preserve. You want to preserve the traditional. You want to preserve the traditional way of life. Muốn bảo tồn cái cách sống truyền thống. If you want to do that, you're not very close-minded. You're not very open-minded. Okay, how about old people? Are they easy? Is it easy for them to accept new food for them? So should teachers and parents teach children how to cook? You think is it a survival skill anymore? Is it like a super important skills in this era and age? Trong cái thời đại ngày nay nó có còn là kỹ năng quan trọng không? Or I think it also depends on the cases. Of course, knowing how to cook will almost always help you to save money, right? Almost always. And also you can be able to feed yourself well and know exactly the ingredients in the food. And also you can be able to save a lot of money. And that's an important skill to learn, I think. You'll be surprised how much money you save by cooking at home. So think about this one. And you can also talk about what would happen if teacher and parents do not teach children how to cook. How bad could it be? How if not eating well, how does it affect people? Of course, it does affect your study. It does affect your health. It does affect your ability to think straight. Cái khả năng để mà suy nghĩ một cách mà đàng hoàng, một cách suy nghĩ bình thường. Nhiều khi ăn không đủ, nó cũng ảnh hưởng suy nghĩ nha. Học hành không được luôn á. And then think about why do people like their local food? I mean, they eat it ever since they were born, yeah. And also local food are cheaper, of course, surely, because the ingredients are, let's say, the ingredients are readily available. Luôn luôn sẵn có nguyên liệu như vậy. And think about the fact that it's the taste that they are so accustomed to. Nó là cái vị mà họ đã quá quen thuộc với nó rồi. Or the taste that they are so familiar with. The taste that is so familiar with. Well, and they are readily available, of course. Luôn sẵn sàng có sẵn ăn. And think about that. Okay, there might be more reasons. Okay, thinking time. All right, Mr. Please describe a time when you ate something for the first time.
So going to talk about the first time I tried barbecues. This happened when I was 9 years old. So at that time, my family went out to have dinner to celebrate my brother's birthday, and we ordered for different dishes, and one of them was I I don't really remember what type of what kind of beef we ordered, but I think it was grilled American beef, and it was flavored with something spicy and aromatic, and just just the smell of it made my mouth water, and it looked really appealing. And also it mixed really well with two kinds of dipping sauces. And there was also a salad, which gave a mild taste, contrasting with the spicy flavors. And pleasant. Uh, it was a very pleasant flavor to taste.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
I
at
see.
that restaurant, I also had a chance to watch it cooked right in front of us. So it was, I think that barbecue that I had for that first time was out of this world. That was the first time I tried it, and I have become a fan of it since.
I see. Now, remember, this is only 2 minutes for part two, but I think you should try to focus more on what you should say here, you know? Now, so, Mr. What kinds of foreign food are popular in your country and why are they popular?
Well, I think in my country there are many kinds of foreign food that are popular due to um, different regions. Mm, but I think the most popular kinds of foreign food would be Korean food or Western food. Mm, mm, for example, um, in my country, Korean food are gaining a lot of popularity as it has a very appealing taste, and it gives people a refreshing taste of the food. And also, I think the price of this Korean food is affordable to many people. So that's why this kind of foreign food are popular in my country. Also, Western food are one of the favorites are one of the favorite food in my country. Mm, For example, there are many types of fried chicken, and there are many stores that sell a lot of Western food because and they are very popular due to their very special taste and a very new food that people do not always get to taste when they eat their local food. Mm, Something really spicy, something has a strong flavor as compared to their local food. So I think in my country, Korean food and Western food are the most popular kinds in my country.
I see. So what are young people's opinions on new food then? And how about the old people?
Well, in my opinion, I think that young people are they are they are more open-minded about new food. I think can easily accept tasting something new, and not be they will be bold in their food choice. But on the other hand, old people, they have they have the, they do not have a chance to be exposed to new food since they were small due to as the era that they live is is not really because the era that they lived in has a lot of wars. So I think at that time, new food was not really popular. So since they were small, they haven't been exposed to new food, and as a result, when they grow up, they develop for themselves a more conservative opinions about new food, and they just want to eat something that they are already familiar with, rather than taste something new and not know about the risks or the taste of those new food. So I think that's the two kinds of opinions of young and old people on new food.
I see. Now, so should teachers and parents teach children how to cook then?
Well, I think the teachers and parents should teach children how to cook, as cooking is an important skill. And also, as cooking for yourself, uh, children ca- as cooking for themselves, children can have greater chance to understand what they like, and they can know exactly how many, what kind of food or what kind of taste that they like the best, and this way they can please themselves by cooking for themselves good food that are suitable for them. And also, cooking can save a lot of money as compared to going out for lunch or for dinner. Cooking at home can save you a lot of money spent on the cost of traveling or the cost of going to restaurants. Mm, and I think if you know how to cook, it can help you to become more creative and also become more pleased about what you are going to eat. You can create whatever food you want in your own way without having to worry about the different ingredients or the unsuitable ingredients that the food in the restaurant may have for you. So, in general, I think cooking is an important skill that teachers and parents should teach their children.
Okay. Right, that was a very comprehensive answer, I would say. Now, so why do people like their local food then?
Well, I think the most important factor is that people like to taste something that they are already accustomed to, as they have been exposed. They have been they have been eating this local food since they were a child, so they will feel really familiar with those food, and it gives them a sense of security as they know what they are eating. They know how much they should eat, or if the ingredients are suitable for their condition or not. And also, the local food is made up of the materials that are readily available. So it will, I think, eating this local food can save a lot of money, rather than go out have dinner at some restaurant that sell foreign food, which can be really expensive and some people may not afford it. Local food provide a more safe, provide a safer and money saving way for people to please themselves and to eat. So I think that's the two reasons why people like their local food.
I see. Hmm. That's good enough for this topic, I think. Now let's try something. Um, let's say I'm gonna move to here. We did this one already, but we haven't done 79. Okay, let's do 79 then. Describe a person who impressed you most when you were in primary school. It can be difficult. So you can make up a story if you want, of course. If you want, you can make up a story as long as it makes sense. A person who impressed you most when you were in primary school. You should say who he or she is, how you knew him or her, why he or she impressed you most, and how you feel about him or her. You also have part three here. Okay, let me just move this one all the way. Maybe it's, yeah, there you go. You can see it easier. You should say who he or she is, how you knew him or her, why he or she impressed you most, and how you feel about him or her. This person doesn't have to be your friend. It can be a teacher, it can be anybody, who impressed you most when you were in primary school. And then you have part three here. Why do people always miss their childhood? Even though their childhood there's nothing really that fun. They have to do whatever the parents ask them to do. They have to wake up early to go to schools. They have to wash their they have to brush their teeth in the early morning and be in school very early. It's like I remember my childhood always I have to always follow the rules and I have to do things that adults always ask me to do. It's like, but why do people always miss their childhood? You have to think about the reason and also think about the fact that during childhood days, you can just, enjoy life, explore more, you ask questions a lot. That's when people really alive, but I don't think working a lot and doing repetitive tasks and, just be put under a lot of stress. It's the right way to live now. People always say that when they were children or when they were students, life were much more beautiful. Well, you have to think the reason why. And of course, when you were children, when you were a child, you can get spanked, you get punished, or you get spanked if you do something bad. Ăn đòn nếu mà làm gì sai, you can get punished or get spanked when you do something bad. All right. So why are children happier than adults and why? You have to think about this one. Do you think children they are happier than adults? These days, there's a lot of adults who are depressed. But also, not all children are happier than adults. Some children they just really want to fight back. They just cry a lot, or they just feel like nobody care for them because their parents are busy working, something like that. So it also depends on the cases and the family, I think. But think about why if you think they're happier, then why? Now, why do people still remember many of their friends from primary schools? Is it because back then people were much more real? Con người ta hồi đó ta không có giả tạo lắm, maybe. People are much more real. They don't try to, you don't have to, you didn't have to watch over your shoulder. It's a saying. It means that that you don't have to be careful of people backstabbing you. Không phải cẩn thận con người ta đâm sau lưng. You didn't have to watch over your shoulder. You don't have to be careful of people backstabbing you when you were in primary school, maybe. But when you reach puberty, remember, in secondary school or high schools, it's like it feels like school become like a battle zone, it become like a battle zone, vùng chiến trận, giống như ra chiến trận, it's like every year is like a struggle, and you cannot really trust people from your secondary school or high school. It feels like that, It's like it's like a word that a word that everybody was by themselves, giống như là mỗi người mỗi góc vậy đó. It's like a world everybody was by themselves. Nobody is really real to you, And of course, think about puberty. It's the hormone, when you have a hormone imbalance. Khi mà có sự mà mất cân bằng hormones, people can be aggressive, or a lot of things can happen when you have your puberty. Remember that. And also, it's a crazy years when your friends act weirdly. You can be very moody as well, and also you can be very depressed when bad things happen to you, And think about that. So the main point I want to say is like friend from primary schools. Of course, I still meet them and I'm very happy to meet them. But friend from secondary school and high school, well, there is a bit of resentment, Sự sượng sượng, sự sượng sượng, sự mà mình không thực sự toàn tâm toàn ý muốn thấy họ. Resentment, there's a bit of resentment when you let me check this word for a while. How is it pronounced?
Resentment. Resentment.
A feeling of anger because you have been forced to accept something that you do not like. Cái cảm giác giống như là bằng mặt không bằng lòng á, giống như kiểu mà tôi cảm thấy bực mình bên trong nhưng tôi không thể thể hiện ra được, tại vì tôi bắt buộc tôi phải chấp nhận cái điều đó mà tôi không ưa điều đó chút nào. So cái sự bằng mặt mà không bằng lòng ấy, resentment. Oh well, think about that one. What kinds of primary school teachers impress students? Well, think about what teachers that you were impressed with, and then you still want to meet them again, And I think this question is not that hard to answer for you. Okay, now some time to think. All right, Mr. Please describe a person who impressed you most when you were in primary school, please.
I like to talk about my art teacher that impressed me the most when I was in primary school. So at that time, I was entering my first year of school, and I had an art lesson. Uh, Initially, she struck me as a very kind, creative, and open-minded person. And gradually, as I continue to learn more about her, I'm really impressed by her creativity and by her personality as well. She was really kind, and she always helped any students when they had any problems with their childhood, with their friends or with their family. She could always give a lot of useful advice, and she was not only good at drawing, but she was also excellent at singing, and she had a very soft voice. which really calmed me uh, when I felt something, when I felt a little confusing or upset. And I feel I'm really, and I feel really, I feel, and I really admire her about her personality or the way she the way she treated her students,
Mm-hmm.
and the way she just dealt with anything that happened in her life. And I think that's someone that's I think that's a model for me to follow when I grow up, to be a kind, a warm-hearted, and a really open-minded person like my art teacher.
I see. Now, so why do people always miss their childhood then?
Well, I think their people's childhood can bring about the good or the bad memories. For example, many children, many people miss their childhood of the time when they are much more carefree, when they can make time for themselves, or they can just live freely and can explore whatever they want. And because when they are adults, when they actually grow up, they have to, they are under a lot of pressure from their work, from their life, and the childhood will be the good memories that can help them to stay strong and give them something to remember, to strive in their life. Also, some people's childhood can bring about unpleasant memories as when they were a child, when they
When they
were
were
children.
children.
Yeah,
When they were
yeah, when they
children.
were children, they always had to follow rules, and they will they would feel really restricted, and they will walk
Restricted
around
or
restricted.
restrained. You can actually use the word restrained
Yeah, and
or
they
restricted, yeah.
had no freedom to do whatever they want. So I think there are many reasons for why people always miss their childhood, because it can be bad and good memories that make them miss their childhood.
I see. Now, so are children happier than adults? Why? In general, okay?
Well, I think that uh, the majority of children are really happier than adults. But in many cases, in many situations or families, uh, children are not any happier than adults.
Think
First,
about children who were born in very impoverished or very poor family, you know? They have to work very early. Like, for example, some have to work since they were like 5 or 10 years old, you know? And they have to endure the same stress as adults, you know? And they are not even paid the same like an adult, you know? So of course, if you have to support your family from a very illegally young age, từ một cái độ tuổi mà bất hợp pháp luôn á, mà rất là trẻ luôn á, mà mình đã phải đi làm rồi. From a very illegally young age, I think, um, well, you're not going to be happy, I think. I mean, that's just what I think. So what do you think about that then?
well, I think that in general, children are happier than adults as they are very small and they are under protection of their parents. So I think most children will be very carefree, will be innocent, and they are given many opportunities to explore or to explore about the surroundings or explore about themselves. and they do not have to worry about the burdens that they might have to overcome when they grow up, such as money, the problems of money, or friends, or love. And I think those can be really stressful for any adult. However, there are some cases of children who are not any happier than adults. For example, there are many children who have very busy parents, and and when they are small, they are not given enough care or love from their parents, and they most of the time they will be very lonely and just play with their own, and that can cause a lot of sadness for a child. And moreover, another example is children growing up in poor families, as they do not have the conditions, they do not have the means to experience their childhood as other children. Um, in contrast, they have to work, they have to deal with a lot of problems that many adults are dealing with. So, at a very young age, they are forced to think, to act like an adult. And in those cases, children are not happier than adults, and maybe they may feel more upset, more disappointed than adults. So, in general, I think it actually depends on the situations or the families that children are brought up.
I see now. Okay, so why do people still remember many of their friends from primary schools? Then did you answer this one?
Well, I think the
Mm-hmm.
most important factor for why people still remember many of their friends from primary school is that that was the time when they were really innocent, and they didn't pretend to be each other's friends, and they didn't try to take advantage of each other to gain advantages for themselves. And as they grow up, becoming adults, they have to face a lot of problems of friends turning their back on them, or maybe betraying them. So
Mm-hmm. Very good.
those friends from primary school, they have a more they are real, and they actually hang out with you to uh, to be good friends, and they do not seek any benefits from hanging to from befriending with you. So, and those kind of friends help people to have something to try. They give a they give people a sense of encouragement, something that they can rely on when they need. So I think those kind of friendships from primary school uh, can really last very long.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the innocence and the
The
fact that they do
innocence.
not,
They say the innocent will never last. You
yeah,
know.
and yeah, and the fact that they do not pretend uh,
Of
to
course, they
be,
do not pretend. If they don't, if they hate you, they're gonna say it. Isn't
yeah.
it?
So it's real. You don't have to consider or assess each other. So
Mhm.
that's why people many people still remember many of their friends from primary school.
Secondary school friends are both mean, they're rude to you, and sometimes they turn their back on you. Yeah, so it's the worst, I think, secondary schools. But primary school student people, they are real friends. I mean, Mostly. I'm not saying everything, okay? Everyone, okay? Now, so what kinds of primary school teachers impress students?
Mm, well, I think it depends on each individual to decide what uh, kind of primary school teachers impress them. Mm, for example, I think many students are impressed by teachers who have a soft voice, something that can give a pleasing feeling for the
Oh, just
students.
like me, soft voice.
Yeah, it
And
can.
not like threatening, not like threatening or authoritative voice, right?
Yeah,
Authoritative voice means the voice that is very strict and stern, of like a principal, for example. That's an authoritative voice. But of course, softer, more, how can I say, like a mother, you know? Those kind of voices actually helps people to feel better. And but that is to help students to like you, you know? But the questions say which one will impress students. So I think you should focus on what kind of teachers impress primary school students, you know? Maybe they are special in some way, you know? So what do you think? Maybe they know a lot of things that you are so curious about and they have the answer, you know? Or maybe they're just like some people who love to learn new things and they are attractive somehow. You know, they're just naturally very attractive. Maybe they have a good appearance, you know. Maybe they really know how to talk, you know. Okay, let's try this question again. So what kinds of primary school teachers impress students then?
mm, well, I think students are impressed by primary school students are impressed by teachers who can give them answers to the questions. Mm, As a matter of fact, primary school students are very curious about the world, about the surrounding, and they will really want to know what about a lot of things. And as a result, they may raise many questions to the students, and the teachers who can give them all the answers and can give them a, um, a plausible explanation for those questions can be really impressive to those students, as they may uh, admire their great knowledge, and also they may also be impressed by the teachers' personality, as they do not scold or they do not tell them off when they ask too many questions, but instead choose to uh, they choose to give them the most suitable answers. So I think that's the first kind of primary school teachers that can impress students. And also, I think the second type is the teachers who are kind and supportive of the students, as they are still small and they may not understand about a lot of things that happening in the world surrounding. So sometimes they may behave in an undesirable way, and the teachers who can show them kindness, who can teach them how to become better without punishing them too severely, and they will show them a way, or they will show them a way to deal with. to behave better can actually impress many students. I think so. The respect and the admiration of the students can well reflect the way they are treated. If they are treated well, the teachers can be really impressive, and it shows that the teachers are really good. So I think those are two kinds of primary school teachers that impress students.
I like it. Okay, so it's 79 now. Good. You you presented this topic very well. Okay, 79 done now. Okay, let's try Okay, let's try 78 then. Describe an item on which you spent more than expected. So it means that you expected to pay only that much, but finally, I don't know why, but sometimes shipping fees, or there's some surcharge. It's called surcharge. It means that you are charged extra because there's some kind of hidden fees, you don't know. Like for example, they didn't tell you in advance. So they didn't tell you in advance. But không nói trước cho mình biết nào. But then it's like when you when you bought it, you had to actually spend more than expected because of hidden fees. You should say what it is, how much you spent on it, why you bought it, and explain why you think you spent more than expected. And then part three, do you often buy more than you expected? Okay, it sounds like a part one question, but you can make it into a part three question though. So you can talk about the reason why you often buy more than you expected. Is it because of their advertisement? Is it because they are very alluring? Is it because they are just really convincing? Is it because of the combo promotion? Những cái khuyến mãi theo kiểu mà combo mua nhiều được gì ấy. Actually, combo it's a trap. It's a trick to trick people into buying more than they need. And to spend so much more money than they actually need. So that's why I often do things that other people will say that I'm so stupid, but actually I'm smart. Like I do not buy things with combo sometimes, because I knew the trick, because I knew that I would never need a lot of things, and they are using combo just to lure me into buying things I will never need, một cái chiêu trò thôi. Combo thực sự một chiêu trò rất là hiệu quả luôn á. I think combo promotion is actually when you promote your products with combo. Buying in combo is actually a very effective method to sell things. So because of that, people just buy much more than you expected. And it's like at the end of the day, you brought home a lot of things and they they catch dust. Bám bụi thôi, tại đâu có xài đâu. They catch dust because you don't actually use them and you just bought things you never need. Okay, so give us an example about that. I think one big examples is to buy họa cụ like stationery, right? Stationery, like for example, paint brushes, or canvas. You know canvas? Canvas is the thing that you draw on. Đó là cái miếng vải và cái khung tranh ấy mà mình vẽ lên. Canvas is the thing that you draw on, and you can also put them on the walls, canvas. Okay, so I think the thing that people spend a lot of money on is paint brushes, and they don't often use them all. They just catch dust, nó chỉ bám bụi là chính, người ta đâu xài hết được đâu. And think about the fact that a lot of things people buy, it just catch dust and then it just become out of date, hết đát luôn á. become out of date, and then people just throw them away. I think most of them are just food, food waste. And food waste is a big problem in the world right now. Because when a lot of people are still hungry, we have food waste problem, and people have to throw them away because these food cannot be consumed anymore because they're out of date. Okay, you can talk about that. Now, what do you think young people spend most of their money on? And how about older people? Well, just some ideas for you. A lot of people, it depends on their interests. So it depends so much on their own interests. Like for example, hứng thú về cái gì? Like if you're interested if you are a tech savvy, if you are a tech savvy person, người yêu công nghệ, sorry, yêu công nghệ. If you're a tech savvy person, you'll probably spend a lot of money on the latest items, the latest tech, the latest tech being put on display. Like for example, the latest iPhone, the latest smartphone, the latest laptop, the latest washing machine, the latest something. You know, I personally seen people who collect things. If they are collectors, they can spend so much of their salary on collecting like objects, like people collect perfume, for example. Có nhiều người sưu tầm nước hoa nha, tiền nhiều lắm luôn không đâu. Actually, it's very costly. And I have personally seen people collecting shoes. Mấy bạn kim ngưu á. People who are Taurus people, Taurians, they basically collect a lot of shoes and perfumes and things. It's like I knew them so well. Anyway, think also about I don't think people spend most of their money on food anymore. It used to be, but these days different. About older people, what about them? Of course, older people spend most of their money on investment, like for example, buying houses, apartments and houses, or they spend their money on their children, dành tiền cho con. Yep. But some people they still spend their money on the casino. They go to casinos and spend their money. Well, at any age, you can spend your money on a casino, in casinos, of course. And you can just throw your money away that way. At any age, you can do that. Crazy to think about. Okay. And then, do you think it's important to save money and why? I think you probably know the reason, the answer for this one very well. No. So do people usually buy things they don't need? Okay, I'm sure you know the answer for this one as well. All right, some time to think. All right, Mr. Please describe an item on which you spent more than expected.
So I'm going to talk about a hat that I bought that was much more expensive than I thought. So my family went on a trip about a few years ago, and at the souvenir store, I decided to buy a hat, and I spent about almost 200 Vietnam dong for that hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it because I thought it was a really cute souvenir, and it gave me an image of the place of the destination that my family went to. So yeah, I uh, after consideration, I still decided to buy that hat despite its high expenditure, high cost. And the reason why I think it was much more expensive than I thought was that it was a very typical hat. It had no unique color or no unique pattern. It was just a normal hat that I think I could buy anywhere in my own hometown. And also, I think, and it had nothing rather than just a logo of the place that I went to. And all the other things, they were really normal, nothing too unique, nothing too extraordinary. And so I was really, although I was a bit disappointed by the price and the hat, by the price of the hat, I think it can still make a very good souvenir for me to remember the time I spent at that place. So yeah, it was a hat that I spent much more than expected.
Okay. So, do you often buy more than you expected?
Well, not really, mm, because I am a person who always consider as who always try to assess everything about its safety or about its convenience, its versatility before I actually buy something. So most of the time, I will try to learn that if it is necessary for me, or or is it affordable, or can it be used for a long time or for a short time. So I think, mm, yeah, I do not often buy more than I expected. However, there are also many cases where I didn't take it into consideration, and then that I bought something on the spur of the moment, and but I think that case is really rare for someone like me, just once or twice in my entire life.
I see. Now, so what do you think young people spend most of their money on? How about older people?
I think it depends on their own interests, regardless of their age. With young people, I think most of them will spend most of their money on clothes or accessories or on some trips or shoes. As young people, they consider these to be something that show off their social status, something that show off their style, their wealth.
Yes.
And I think it's a way to for people to gain respect from other people. So they would choose to buy those kind of items and spend most of the money on them. And with older people, they will probably choose to spend most of their money on investments, such as buying houses, apartments, in order to save more or put the money in the bank in order to gain more money uh, later when they need it. Also, there are many people who just merely spend money on their children to buy a house or to buy many things for their children.
Hmm.
So I think the matter of spending most of the money depends greatly on each people interest and their own personalities.
I see. It doesn't really depend on their age much, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's their personality.
I think so too. Because I personally see a lot of young people who actually know how to save money and older people who spend a lot. Do you think it's important to save money? Then why?
Definitely, I think it is really important to save money for the rainy day? Mm, because there are many problems that can arise when you do not expect them to happen, and when those events happen, such as um, an accident or a health problem or some situations that require a lot of money. So if you save enough money, that will not be a big problem. But if you do not save money and you have spent most of your money on something else, and then later you do not have enough money to deal with those problems, it will cause a lot of damage. It will cause a lot of problems, as you may have to as
Yes.
you may have to borrow money from someone else or
In
from
order
banks.
to be able to afford those
Yeah,
things, right?
yeah, and sometimes it can lead to you to your it can you can end up in debts
In
in
big debts that may
yeah,
take a long while to repay, isn't it?
yes.
To end up in big debts that can take a long while to repay. All right. So do you people usually buy things they don't need then?
uh, in my opinion, I think it greatly depends on their personality and their it greatly depends on their personality. For example, there are people really who are really careful, and they always have to consider or assess the things that they are going to buy,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly they will have a list of what they need, and then they just focus on what is necessary, and then they just go buy those things, but uh, and not get distracted by the other items. And however, there are also many people who are very spontaneous. They tend to buy a lot of things that seem appealing to them at that moment. And when they actually buy those products, those items, they realize that those things are not really of much use. And as a result, they may just and as a result, those items can be discarded, or they will not use them frequently, and that will cause a waste of money for those people.
A big waste of money and also a big catastrophe for the environment, you know? A catastrophe for the environment. Why? Because why? If you let those unused things to catch dust, they will eventually become trash and they damage the environment, or they can actually damage your health, you know? Because actually hoarding things in your house, it invites pests. Like for example, cockroaches, rats, mice, ants, and etc. So of course, those things are bad for your health, you know. So it's just bad all the way. Mùi lắm vô xong rồi để một đống đồ, nó sẽ có đủ thứ con nó chui vô nha, phải không đâu? You know, it's actually not a very healthy situation at all. And unfortunately, a lot of people they are in that situation. Okay, let's just end it here.